Oh, here we go. Gotta love these 460s, not even full throttle. Not overly fast, but they still have tons of torque. Thought you'd enjoy that. Well, working on the 73 LTD here, which most everything is in really nice shape. One issue I've been having is as I turn the wheel, it's been making a noise, and the front end is fully greased. You kind of feel it in the steering wheel itself. It doesn't feel like it's a front end issue. So I've been working on it, and by the way, a number of my other early mid-70s Fords have this issue. So I've been trying to pinpoint it. It's not bad, but it starts to get a little annoying. It doesn't do it if you just drive the car for 10 miles. You start driving at longer distances, you start turning the wheel and you hear like a squeaking noise. So I have discovered what the issue is. You can see where there's white lithium grease there. There's a rubber boot that goes around the steering shaft there. You can see the rag joint for the steering shaft as well. And let's see if it's, there we go. So this rubber boot where that white lithium grease is just gets dry over time and starts making a squeaking noise. So all you do is spray a little bit of lithium grease on it. And now I turn the wheel back and forth. You don't hear anything. Turns smoothly. Before I would go, because I've been driving this car all day. Why not drive it on a nice day? So if you've got a squeaky steering wheel on your Ford and you don't know what it is and your front end is all lubed and everything, spray some white lithium grease in between the steering shaft and that rubber boot, and you should be good to go. This is one rare LTD with a 460 in 1973, the top dog engine, as well as the heavy duty ride and handling package. Again, quite rare, which is why I bought it. This was actually advertised at Griffin Ford in Waukesha, Wisconsin. They had it for sale on their used car lot. Somebody traded it in. That person actually emailed me at some point, and unfortunately I lost their contact information. So if he's watching this, let me know. But it was sitting on the used car dealership lot out there, and somebody had put an aftermarket air cleaner on there, and the choke was disconnected because it interfered with the aftermarket air cleaner. Thankfully, as you saw, the stock air cleaner and everything was in the trunk. So it was funny. It was in January when I went to go look at the vehicle. You can see how clean it is. I mean, this car is absolutely pristine. These seats are so comfortable. I mean, the car doesn't have a speck of rust anywhere on it. The interior is flawless. So I went to go see the car in January, and it wouldn't start because it was too cold and the choke wasn't working. And the sales lady just said, well, you know, she kept trying to start it and pumping it. Like, well, do you mind? I noticed that these parts from the trunk, I said, do you mind if I put those parts on and restore the drivability? She said, no, have at it. Do whatever you want. And I asked her for a screwdriver because I needed one of those. She gave it to me. Put all the parts on, fired right up. Then I took it for a test drive. And then after I brought it back, I put all what was on it back on so it wouldn't start again. And I returned it to the condition I left it. And they waited me out. I made them an offer. I said, I'm the only person who's going to offer you money for a non-running car between now and the springtime. And you've had it on your lot for a couple months. I know you want to get rid of it. So I offered them $6,500 for it. They wanted $10,000 for it, which this was 3 years ago, was quite a bit for this car. And they didn't advertise it as having a 460. The only reason I knew is the VIN was posted online, and the 5th digit of the VIN was an A, which means it's a 460. So that caught my eye, and I thought, oh, wow, this is something special. Then I got a Marty report on it and noticed it was a 460 car with a heavy-duty suspension. So then I really went to go see it. In any case, they wanted 10 grand. I offered them 6,500, and probably about another couple months later, they called me and asked if I would take 7, and I said 68.50, and that's where we settled. So, like I said, some people wonder, how do I have all these cars? Well, they used to be cheap. I mean, this car is not worth a fortune now, but it's probably worth, I don't know, 10 grand, maybe 11 grand. It's absolutely pristine, 45,000 mile car, original paint, interior, not a speck of rust, runs perfect, drives perfect, aside from the squeaky steering wheel, which I've now cleared up. Brakes great. You know, how could you go wrong for that price? Could have used it as a daily driver, which I would never do. So pay attention. That's how you get these cars at good deals, is people don't necessarily, and this was a dealer, a Ford dealer, don't know what they have. The fuel gauge didn't work. They didn't fix it. The choke wasn't working, so it didn't start. I didn't even have to rebuild the carburetor in this car or give it a tune-up. It had all new components. The fuel gauge issue was just that the sender was taking on fuel and had to be replaced, which is super easy on these. You can do it with the tank in the car. It's kind of like a half hour to an hour job. And I've waxed it and buffed it and detailed the interior, but really aside from that, I haven't done much to it mechanically. Changed the oil, changed the antifreeze, changed the thermostat, just make sure it's got fresh fluids running through it. That's how you find them, $6,800 for a pristine 2-door 73 LTD with a 460. So keep your eye out. The deals are harder to find now, but trust me, they're still out there. They are still there to be had. And here's the car outside. Super, super solid. I did have factory style dual exhaust added to it, which this is the correct termination point, terminates before the bumper supports. Looks a little goofy, but that's how they were. This car does have the protection group with the bumper guards and the rubber strip in the bumper. And notice the Fords, the Mercurys and the Lincolns have a very pronounced shoulder here that comes back up, and then often they even have a piece of bright work there to cap it off. The Ford does not. His shoulder kind of is less pronounced, doesn't have the bright work, and blends into the door here. So different styling philosophy. And a 1-year only front end, first year of the 5 mile an hour bumper in the front, 2.5 in the rear. 74 would be 5 mile an hour front and rear. 1-year only grille pattern, and also no hood ornament. 74 would have a hood ornament. Here you just have the red LTD wreath there. And interestingly, this car doesn't have the remote control mirror. It's a manually adjustable mirror, which I think looks sharper. I mean, I'm the only one who drives it, so you adjust it once. But these are just such comfortable cars, and yes, the prices have gone up now, but if this were a 73, this is an LTD Bro, if this were a 73 Caprice, oh my goodness, you'd pay at least double what this car is worth, especially for a coupe. For some reason, the Fords, they don't have quite the style, although I like the style of these. It's very, wouldn't call it beautiful, but it is handsome. Not nearly the surfacing that the Caprice has, although this does have some little nice surface touches here. The 73 Buick Regal really took that side surface to an extreme, became a diving line and very pronounced. GM did, I think, have better surfacing in these days, but typical Ford trait is this really hard brake and then the rocker that tucks inward. They all almost did that. The Lincolns, the Mercurys, the Fords. Very sharp crease here at the bottom. And then a very pronounced tuck in. That's kind of the Ford, a drag section, as it would be called here, because you can just take a template and the clay and you just drag it all the way back. Doesn't change in its shape. Very typical Ford trait for the era. And like I said, the other one that this one is missing is the bright work on the peak moldings and then a distinct shoulder here. You notice that there's no shoulder on the rear quarter panel. The Mercury's and the Lincolns, you would see a distinct shoulder here and generally a piece of bright work that would go all the way back. It's still very much a Ford, especially this particular kind of coffin nose hood shape, W-style front end. Very much a Ford. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for watching this video on the 73 LTD. Hope you enjoyed it and hope I gave you a few tips to what to look for when you're buying a vehicle. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe, as that helps the YouTube algorithm serve it up to more viewers like you. Hit the super thanks button, which is the heart-shaped icon with the $sign in it. And check out the video thumbnails at bottom left and right for some suggestions for you. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care.